Hi, it's Louis Paul, The Colors of Prague, Season 6, Episode 1. So I know we were supposed to be back in July 2025, but things happen, and wanted to research a lot of music, what to cover, what haven't I covered, and what should I go back and discuss again, something that I did in a much, much earlier show. And I mentioned before some music that doesn't quite grab you immediately will grab you later, and grab you as an interest. I've rarely come across music that just turned me off. There's a few, or I'm not into. And then sometimes I'll go back and give something another listen. So today, Ars Nova. It's a symphonic prog band from Japan, and pretty much in the ELP style, but then there's more. I've no clue why Ars Nova aren't more well known to the general progressive rock community. Yes, there are some that are aware of them, like their music, etc. And they've had changes in their lineups over the years. But maybe since they're primarily an all-female band, and since they rarely use vocals, that could have something to do with that. Now, Ars Nova was formed in Japan in 1983, and they played the touring circuit as an ELP covers band initially. But they didn't get around to releasing their debut of all original material until 1992. Fear and Anxiety was issued on the Made in Japan label, and at that time, the band members were Kiko Kumagi on keyboards, including Moog, Mini Moog, Mellotron, the Prophet 600, and a ton more of hardcore electronic sounds. Kyoko Sato played bass and bass synthesizer, and Yumiko Sato was the drummer. Now, the photo of the three women on the cover of their debut, now long out of print, might have one believe that this was a record containing Japanese female pop vocals, not an ELP-inspired band. Transi, Transi, also released on the Made in Japan label in '94, featured a different lineup, although Kiko Kamagi is still obviously the band leader on keyboards. Kyoko Kanazawa is now the bass player, and Akiko Takahashi is on drums and violin, which is quite interesting. The Goddess of Darkness, released in 1996, simultaneously on the Made in the Made in Japan and the French prog label Musea, is the same lineup as Transi. But Kyoko is obviously embracing her attractive feminine beauty and dons an S&M-like wardrobe for the liner notes and the 2018 Made in Japan's record re-release. At this time, Goblin and other Italian bands influenced the music. While still being all instrumental, one can see dark tones in the song titles like Kali, Fury, Isis, the Gorgons. And that's just 4 of the 5 songs. Is there a Japanese pagan or Wiccan thing going on here? I'm not sure. The Book of the Dead, again released simultaneously by Made in Japan and Musea in 1998, and on vinyl by the Black Widow label in '99, finds the core band with Ken Ishita assisting on bass. It's the first time a male member has been credited with joining the band. It's a 45-minute long instrumental album, The Book of the Dead, demands to be heard. The ingenious mix of influences like Keith Emerson, Goblin, and even Italian bands like Baco, who are actually thanked in the liner notes, contribute to something quite unusual here. And Keiko's multi-tracking of mellotron created choir effects is something. And I have to mention, Akiko is quite the polyrhythmic drummer. She's amazing, and she's still going. I actually read something somewhere that Akiko believes she is none of this earth. I kid you not. Uh, Rather alien born. We're friends on Facebook, and other than a love of performing music and drinking beer, she likes her beer, and wearing in a headband with antennas, much like that character that Palm played in the Guardians of the Galaxy films. I don't find much all that unusual. Well, it's Prague, ain't it? Android Domina, released in 2001 on Made in Japan, Musea, and the Black Widow labels, finds new addition Mika Nakajima on additional synthesizers. Two of the 6 tracks feature bass guitar by studio musicians. Otherwise, it's all bass pedals on the keyboard. Visually, the leather and lace and chains motif is amplified for the cover and liner note photos. And what is that I hear? A Rick Wakeman influenced church organ sound flitting in and out of the songs? You bet it is. This is Android Domina is absolutely crazy symphonic prog. And the tempos sometimes increase and decrease, often within the same tune, which is quite unusual. First time, we're also hearing some kind of vocals, maybe wordless words, sounds. And I think they're by Mika, and they're otherworldly, sparsely used, and just something. This is another good one, and I recommend you check it down. Taking the sapphic appeal with our band leader in sexy attire, where can one go to but Biogenesis Project? Released in 2003 on the band's own Transy label and Musea. This one, Biogenesis, is a science fiction themed project with some narration in English, with contributions from, get ready, Gianni Leone from Il Ballato di Bronzo, Arjen Lucassen, everyone knows that name, Claudio Simonetti from Goblin, Lucio Fabi from PFM, and others. They really called in quite the group of people. The story, Biogenesis, centers around 2301 AD, where the human population has reached oversaturation. The ozone layer has been destroyed, and an artificial sun shines on a dome, protecting the last of Earth's inhabitants. But there's an underground city called Megalopolis, which might hint at the future of Earth's survival. It's pretty heavy stuff. And there was a DVD version produced along with the CD. Same music and story. It had the primitive special effects and CGI, if you could call it that. Lots of lens flare, camera things going on. And quick glimpses of Kyoko no fashionable, sexy leather and lace. I got one of those in my collection, and it's probably among the strangest of the prog-related items I own. Seventh Hell from 2009, at that time, was only featuring Kyoko, the keyboardist, again, remaining member from the Ars Nova lineup. And strangely, there's a lot of people helping out on this one, including Satoshi Handa, who is also known from Astorius, and he handles guitar duties on this album. This was released on the Musea label, but quickly went out of print. In 2002, Ars Nova released a compilation on their own Transy label, and it featured 7 tunes from their first 3 albums with bootleg quality artwork, but it was their own self-release. A year later, the Expose Bootleg Series #1, a variant of the Transy label, issued Ars Nova live at the Crocodile Club October 31st, 1998. But the show is actually from the Alligator Lounge in Brooklyn, New York. At that time, Ars Nova toured infrequently internationally. Finally, Across the World, 2001, again released on the band's own Transy label, has Kyoko and Mika and Satoshi Handa, who I just mentioned, with assistance from others. And these dates even include international shows, even 1 or 2 US shows. Things were very quiet on the Ars Nova front. And then Kiko Takahashi rejoined the band, and in 2014 created her own group, Akiko's Cosmic Space. Okay. And included a mash. She so far released only 1 album, the self-titled Akiko's Cosmic Space. It's like a mashup of prog, punk, world music, and space rock. The album is also alternately known as Julaska to This Wonderful Day. It was released on the French Musea label in 2015. In 2023, Ars Nova played a Prague event in Mexico City. And this coming September 2025, they are scheduled to play day 2 of the Verona, Italy Prague Festival, also known as 2 Nights Plus. And they are the opening band for the reformed Italian band Alpha Taurus, which is big. After years of inactivity, it looks like we may be hearing and seeing more of Ars Nova in the future. Now, close out. There are, FYI, other bands named Ars Nova. There was an American band signed to Elektra in 1968, and their music is progressive psychedelic. There's some stuff on YouTube I heard, but the band split, and after opening at the Fillmore East for the Doors. As to why, I don't know. And there was an Italian band named Ars Nova who released 2 singles and a posthumous recording of live outtakes. Outtakes and live material, after they disbanded. There's also a Canadian band called Ars Nova from the 80s. They released some material, more in a hard rock band vein. So that's today's show. Ars Nova, strange Symphonic Prog from Japan. And I really recommend checking these out. You might have to look around. Some of these are quite out of print, but well worth you seeking them out.